In Whitman, we have got a license which allows us to do business and to have access to that information and to park the client's money into almost all the fund manager in Malaysia. So what we actually do is that we subscribe to the internet services of the research house to scan and capture the data and the performance of all these funds. And as you all know by now, we attempt to look for the best of breed fund manager in each of the category. Say for example, in the category of the US market, who are the best of breed fund manager? In the category of China market, in Malaysia market, who are the best of breed fund manager? So I mentioned there are quite a number of quantitative criteria that we need to consider, and there are also qualitative criteria that we consider. Okay, so that's where we shortlist the fund, and then this is how we select the fund. And how do we monitor it? Is that we continue to monitor the performance of the fund. I don't mind sharing you on the daily basis. On all the working days, we are monitoring the performance on the daily basis to see how they're performing. Okay, but we would not take a very immediate action, when they underperform or whatever, because we will see whether this is a actual underperformance among the peers or whether it's a market movement in general. So normally we will do it on a yearly basis. Then we will do a overall review and then a very serious comparison and selection, shortlisting, and then sack some of the underperforming fund manager who are no longer best of breed fund manager, and put in some of the new fund manager that we believe are the new best of breed fund manager. So this explains how we go through the process of selecting fund manager and how do we make sure that our client continue to invest in the client into the best of breed fund manager. I am not an economist, and I doubt whether any economist can predict accurately how high the inflation will be for the next 5 years, because I think we all notice that the changes happening to this world seems to be getting faster and faster, and more frequent changes that we have. So to be able to predict what will happen in the future is a very uphill task. But one thing for sure that what I observed for inflation is that I think for the past 40-50 years in Malaysia at least, inflation rate may go up sometimes to 7-8% depending on what you spend on, and sometimes it may go to 1% or 2%. But in-depth inflation never go to zero. Sometimes I can see that sometimes as a country, the economy may be doing well, certain year 8% growth, 7% growth. Sometimes economy may be doing only 3% growth or 4% growth. But one thing for sure is that inflation never disappear. Inflation always there. So I think we don't need to guess whether inflation will disappear or will slow down or not. What we need to do is to have a viable and proven investment methodology to make sure whatever that we put aside other than the cash reserve, we will grow this money to beat inflation, do better than inflation, and then we don't have to worry about this kind of investment. Because the nature of the real investment is that whatever inflation were to go, for example, inflation were to go from 5% to 10%, the real investment, like for example, you invest into investment that will be able to beat inflation, is that will give you the return 3% or 4% higher than inflation, because this company or this kind of asset will somehow be able to absorb the inflation impact and give you slightly higher return than inflation. So that is the whole purpose why we must invest into those investments that will be able to do better than inflation.